You're illegally occupying our land. Yeah, those were the exact words I heard the first time I ever set foot at what I thought was my dream home. And I know you're probably thinking, come on, nobody actually says stuff like that out loud. But that's exactly how it started. I'd barely even stepped out of my moving truck shoes, not even on the ground yet, when these three HOA folks came storming up my driveway like I'd just dropped a trailer full of toxic waste on their private beach. 40% of my property, they said, belonged to them, and honestly, for a second, I thought I was being pranked. Nope. Straight up land grab, dressed up as some friendly neighborhood welcome committee. You ever have one of those moments where you just know your life is about to get turned upside down? Yeah, buckle up. Let me back up a second. 6 months of house hunting, saving every penny, double-checking everything. I'd picked this quiet cul-de-sac for one reason: peace. No HOA drama, no paint your mailbox taupe or else nonsense, none of that. My lawyer and I paid her good money. Mind you, swore up and down this place had never been tainted by any HOA foolishness. Crystal clear, she said. No HOA, no way, not now, not ever. Turns out never doesn't mean what it used to. So there I was, keys still dangling from the ignition, when these two guys and a woman who looked like she could freeze water just by looking at it waltzed up with their suits and their clipboards. She steps forward, silver hair bun so tight it looked painful, eyes like ice, and says, "Mr. Brooks, I'm Christina Whitfield, chairwoman of the Riverside Estates Homeowner Association, and not a welcome to the neighborhood, but we've been expecting you," like I was some kind of pest control appointment. The way she said my name, I could tell this wasn't her first rodeo, and maybe the realtor tipped them off I was coming. I get out, still holding my keys, like maybe they'll protect me, and she starts right in. "Your documentation reflects an outdated understanding of property boundaries in this community." That's when her sidekick, Robert, slaps a stack of papers down on my tailgate like he's serving a search warrant. Seals, stamps, legalese, and a bright red line right through my backyard. According to their map, 40% of what I'd just bought was theirs. Not a little strip or an easement, almost half my land. This covenant was established in 1987, Christina says, like she's Moses coming down from the mountain. It grants the HOA permanent rights to the eastern portion of all lots in this section. My purchase apparently meant nothing. Community agreements trump everything. She tapped the page with her manicure click-click eyes never leaving mine. And you know what? The whole thing looked official, but something was off. The paper was too new. The font was too modern. 35-year-old documents don't look like they came out of a Staples copy machine last week. But before I could say any of that, she's already ramping up. "You have 48 hours to remove your fence and any structures from our land. The HOA doesn't negotiate with trespassers." That word trespassers felt like a punch in the gut. 5 minutes earlier, I was a proud homeowner. Now I'm a criminal in my own yard. I tried to be reasonable. "There must be some mistake. This property isn't part of any HOA. I've got the deed, I've got the survey." She just gives me this look like she's heard it all before. Deeds can be misleading, Mr. Brooks. Community covenants often supersede individual property claims. Her little entourage turns on their heels and heads back to their black SUV like they've just dropped a bomb and want to watch the fallout from a safe distance. That's when I noticed it. Their covenant filed in '87, supposedly, but the notary stamp at the bottom dated 1988 and half covered by a coffee ring. Tiny thing. But you know how when something's not right, it just starts gnawing at you. I watched their car disappear, questions exploding in my head. How'd they know I was arriving? Why the mismatched dates? And what happened to those 4 other families? Christina had mentioned the ones who'd all complied. I stood there in my driveway, boxes stacked around me, thinking this isn't just about land. It's about power. It's about people who get off on pushing folks around because they think they can. Well, they picked the wrong software engineer. I don't know squat about HOA shakedowns, but I know how to dig, document, and fight back. They wanted a war, all right, game on. First stop the next morning was the county records office before they even opened. Place smelled like dust and red tape. I explained my situation to Sarah Williams, the records clerk woman, with real warmth in her eyes, the first genuine smile I'd seen since I'd arrived. When I told her about the property dispute, her brows knit together. "On your first day." That's a new one. "Let's see what we've got." 15 minutes later, we're surrounded by records, and let me tell you, her pile painted a completely different picture. My deed, flawless. Survey, clean as a whistle. And this is key, no HOA covenant, not from 1987, not ever. Sarah frowns at their document. The seal's correct, the notary number checks out. But look here, signature placement is off, font's wrong, and this paper stock is way too clean for the 80s. There's no record of this in our system. Her voice dropped. Someone with the right tools could make something like this, but it's not real. It hits me, I'm not just dealing with power-hungry neighbors. This is fraud with someone forging county documents. And as I'm letting that sink in, my phone rings, blocked number voice, distorted like something out of a low-budget thriller. You need to stop digging into HOA business. You don't understand what you're dealing with. Click. Chills, man. I call the cops. Officer Miller comes out, takes my statement, but what can he do? Anonymous threats are hard to prosecute. Document everything, avoid confrontation. Easy for him to say. I head straight to my lawyer, Amanda Wilson. She's sharp, and when I tell her the whole story, she doesn't even look surprised. Henry, this isn't the first time I've seen Riverside Estates pull this trick. 4 families in 5 years, all lost in disputes with the HOA, every case decided in their favor. She leans in. This smells like a fraud ring. But fighting them's expensive, $15,000 just to start. And if local officials are dirty, even that might not work. That night, trying to unpack boxes in a house I might lose, I notice a black sedan parked across the street. When I look again, it's moved, but I can still see it. Mrs. Kelly, my sweet elderly neighbor, knocks on my door the next morning. Honey, you in trouble? Strange man came asking about you yesterday, asking if you live alone. I didn't tell him anything, but you be careful. So now we're playing surveillance games. Great. The harassment ramps up. Notices stuck in my yard mailbox, stuffed with fines for grass, height, paint tone, non-conforming mailbox. By day 3, my bill's headed for 5 figures. Neighbors who'd waved at me a week ago now won't meet my eye. Tom and Linda, who used to chat by the mailbox, cross the street to avoid me. That doesn't just happen unless someone's stirring the pot. Christina's people, they're spreading stories. Sprinklers flood my driveway, trash cans get knocked over on schedule. My internet starts cutting out only when I'm trying to send files to Amanda, of course. Fake parking tickets appear on my windshield every day. But it's the surveillance that gets to me. I count 8 different people, always walking dogs, taking pictures, measuring with tape. They're coordinated like they're following a schedule. And then a twist. Lisa Johnson, a property appraiser or so she claims, shows up. She's different. Her questions make sense and she actually looks me in the eye. Mr. Brooks, have you been pressured by your HOA? I'm tracking patterns that worry me. She's not one of them. She's scared for me, not of me. She slips me a card, whispers, if you want help, let's talk off the record. What's happening to you isn't random. That night, flipping through my security footage, I realize how organized this really is. They're recruiting neighbors, even kids, to document violations. The college student snapping photos thinks he's helping. Mrs. Peterson down the street was told I'm under investigation for fraud. Christina's people have built a whole fake reality where I'm the bad guy. But their discipline is their weakness. I start logging everything, turning chaos into evidence. Then one morning a manila envelope appears in my mailbox. No return address, just my name. Inside a trove of emails and spreadsheets that lay out their entire playbook. Brooks target acquired. Phase 1, implementation. They'd been tracking me since I signed my purchase agreement. Financial records showing they'd made $180,000 on 4 previous acquisitions. A rotation schedule for harassment color-coded with cover stories. Then I see the worst part. If resistance escalates, initiate Phase 3, evidence planting and criminal referral. Yeah, they were prepared to have me arrested if I didn't play along. And the names, some on the HOA, others county clerks, even a couple local cops. This wasn't just neighborhood drama. It was a ring. That night I meet Lisa, whose real name is Lisa Thompson, she admits, and she used to live here. Christina's people forced her to sell for pennies on the dollar, and she spent 2 years collecting proof, waiting for someone like me. She's been working with David Morris, the same guy from Christina's clipboard crew. Turns out he's actually a private investigator, blackmailed into working for them. He's been feeding Lisa intel from the inside. The 3 of us pool everything, documents, video files. David hands me a flash drive. Everything you need to destroy them is on here, but trust no one in uniform until this hits the feds. Paranoia. Maybe. But the next morning, David's apartment gets ransacked. The cops call it random, but we know better. The next escalation break-in at my place. Two pros in tactical gear caught by my cameras trying to snatch the files and plant drugs. Police arrived this time with a county detective, Rebecca Sullivan, who'd already been tracking HOA scams. She runs the face of the lead intruder through their system, comes up as a hired gun with a history of problem resolution for high-paying clients. Under pressure, he spills everything Christina paid him to break in grab evidence and plant meth if he couldn't find the files. They did the same thing to another family last year. Now the FBI's involved and the case explodes. Federal raids. Christina and her cronies arrested. Local news goes nuts. Neighbors who shunned me realize they've been played. Home values tank panic sets in. People scramble to distance themselves from the mess. The real bombshell, Christina's just middle management. Her boss, the architect, a guy named Vincent Torres, ex-real estate mogul, is running similar scams in 5 states. Millions stolen, dozens of families ruined. It's not just HOA bullying, it's organized crime with shell companies, dirty officials, and foreign money laundering thrown in for good measure. Suddenly I'm on the news, a hero homeowner who took down a syndicate. Lisa gets her house back. The Johnsons get restitution. Even the Rodriguez family, set up on drug charges, gets their name cleared. New HOA board, federal oversight, community meetings to rebuild trust. The folks who harassed me get voted out or move away in shame. In the last twist, Mrs. Kelly, my neighbor, turns out her late husband was a federal investigator who'd been tracking this exact pattern before he died. She quietly steered me toward documenting everything, helped me bring in the right people, finished the case her husband couldn't. So that's how a nobody software engineer, an ex-victim, and a blackmailed PI took down a multi-million-dollar criminal operation masquerading as a neighborhood association. Christina and Torres, they got prison. The ring got dismantled. The community finally got some peace. But let me ask you this. In a world where the people enforcing the rules are the ones breaking them, what does justice really look like? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stories. Have you ever stood up to a bully who thought they ran the show? Do you think HOAs are more harm than help? Share your experience. And if you made it this far, hit like, subscribe for more insane stories. And most importantly, don't let anyone tell you you don't belong in your own home.